Welcome to the Snakes and Ladders podcast in association with Hunting for Profit, in-play horse racing trading education courses and online academy. So welcome to the fourth edition of our podcast. It's not something that I've made a regular thing. The last podcast was well over a year ago. That year's gone bloody quickly, to be honest. I don't like putting out content out there unless I feel it's going to be really useful and beneficial to people. However, I have thought about making this podcast more regular and maybe possibly focusing on the racing aspect of trading, maybe monthly or weekly. I'm a very busy person with our group online, so I am limited to time. But if you'd be interested in hearing more regular podcasts, let me know in the comment section below, or drop an email, and I'd love to hear your views. This podcast is a brutally honest chat with myself, with three guys in our trading group. It's some absolute golden nuggets in there. Three great guys. We're completely honest, nice chat with them about their trading journeys. Just to make you aware, there is a bit of a sound interference at the start of the podcast from my mic, but we managed to clear that up quite soon into the podcast, so don't let it put you off from listening to it all the way through. Please give it a thumbs up and share it on your social media platforms. I would very much appreciate that if you enjoyed it, and like I say, let us know in the comment section what you thought. Enjoy. Okay, so this is our fourth podcast. I welcome back Paul, who has been on our other three podcasts. Hello, Paul.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing?
Not bad. How are you?
All right, thanks, mate. Yeah.
Keeping well, good.
Yeah, good.
And also we have Jody. Hello, Jody.
Hello.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good.
Jody's a long-term member of Hunting for Profit, so we'll have a chat about his trading journey in a minute. And we also have Robbie. Now, Robbie is an ex-Millwall football legend who played his last game in the FA Cup final, marking Cristiano Ronaldo. Hello, Robbie.
Hello, Matt. How you doing? Okay.
I was going to give you a big up than that, but
if people watch the game, I don't need a big up because they're taking this.
I'm doing to exercise your ego, massage your ego. Sorry.
He's still in my pocket, mate. He's still in my pocket.
Okay, you guys have been getting in some trading time lately?
Because I work nights, I'm trading 5 days a week really now, so I'm quite enjoying it at the moment. The last couple of months now, I've been really enjoying it, to be honest.
Yeah, you've been quite regular at it, haven't you?
Yeah, because I've been long enough, but I just think to myself, if you just do every day, you can only get better. So as long as if I'm free in the afternoons, I'm gonna just get the time and get the time under my belt, to be honest.
Yeah. How did you get into trading originally then?
10 years ago, I could tell you a couple of stories about when I went on trial with Brentford, and I think it was Neil Shipley got me into gambling. He told me about chasing the favourite. So I've done all that. I didn't have a job, and I was going to the bookies and putting the money on the first favourite. If that lost, then the next favourite. And so I got into gambling in that way, which is obviously a bad way. But I realised that there was ways of obviously making money if you had the discipline. So I started obviously Googling stuff, and I just started doing value betting through tipsters really. But I actually made a good bit of money, to be honest. But you know yourself, Betfair was always there, and you always have a dabble in and out, and you used to just didn't know what I was doing and laid horses and just tried to nick 10 and 20 quids here and there. But always appealed to me. And obviously once the value betting got harder to open accounts, etc., I wanted to go down the Betfair route. And I actually found Steve Howe. I think a few other people did, and obviously done pre-racing, but he was very good, Steve. But it just wasn't for me, man. Just straight away, I just didn't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Even though obviously what he taught was good and obviously makes money, but it just wasn't for me. And I'd actually mentioned you, and he was very complimentary, and he said, "Listen, if that's the way you want to go," he said, "it is good." And obviously Matt's a great mentor. So and the minute I joined you, I enjoyed it. I think that's probably half the battle. Even though it's hard. It is hard trading because obviously there's so many ups and downs, and you got to learn about yourself, etc. But I knew from your course that I would enjoy it, the in-play a little bit, to be honest. So I think that, as I said, it's half the battle. If you're enjoying it, as long as you're not losing money, it's you hopefully get there one day.
Yeah, because you joined Hunting for Profit in the early days, didn't you? And then you had a bit of a break, and you came back and you've done the course, and you've sort of moved on from there, really.
I did indeed, yeah. I'd obviously come across you online, and like probably most people, I sort of seen you, but didn't put in the time and didn't really do it. I was obviously watching your videos, etc., and following you without actually putting the time in, and then left it because I was still doing my value betting. But then thought myself, do you know what? If you want to go down Betfair route, I need a helping hand off somebody. And obviously, as I said, I knew yourself and I knew Steve, and that's the route I've taken. And I said, I'm just noticed the last few months now, it's starting to click together. Still obviously got a long way to go, and still have me bad days here and there, but it's definitely starting to click now. As I said, I've been back now. I think it's probably nearly 2 years now. But again, I think that the first 6 months when you join something, you just think you're gonna make money straight away, and expect to make money straight away, and you have your ups and downs. But as I said, I knew by your course and you showing us what to do, that if I could sort my own self out mentally and the discipline side of it, that it definitely does work. And that's not just saying it to you. I know everyone knows it works, and it's only down to ourselves. If I know when I have a losing day, it's usually because I've done something wrong myself, as opposed to what you teach us, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wanted to ask Robbie on his. Obviously, he's taken a similar sort of route to myself. I mean, I wasn't marking Cristiano Ronaldo, but
neither was I.
Starting off with Steve and going the pre-race route. What have you found the most challenging part of it, Robbie, in terms of learning to trade generally, as opposed to in running or pre-race? What have you found the most challenging part of it generally?
In running?
Just trading in general.
Well, to be honest, I didn't. As I said, when I joined Steve, I didn't really do it. It was like when I joined Matt's course 2 years ago. The first 3 or 4 months, I'd jump in for an hour. Do you know what I mean? And twice a week or 3 times a week, and just think, I didn't make money today. What's going on? Why am I making money? Do you know what I mean? And I think you just expect to make money, but as the longer obviously you do it, you realise you have to put the time in to learn. And I think it's more challenging about yourself, because, as I said, I think most of us have learned seeing Betfair from years ago, and used to just lay a horse at the back of the field to try and nick 20 quid, or back a horse that's miles in front for 50 quid, and then it falls, or it gets caught, and just trying to nick money, really. Do you know what I mean? So them habits are obviously in my head from 5-8 years ago, or whatever it may be. So I still do have that little bit of a rush to the head, but they're definitely now that if they used to happen once a week, they happen once a month now. So to me, you can take it both ways and you think, well, you haven't learned, but to me it's progression. I'm doing it once a month or whatever it may be. So I'm definitely making less mistakes. And I think that's half the battle. If you don't be silly and lose silly trades, as I said, what Matt teaches us, the 90 people in the course will tell you, it's a fact that every one of us can make money if what Matt shows us comes along in every race. But obviously it doesn't, and that's where you need to learn your discipline. Is probably the hardest thing to sit in your hands. Even today, I've had my worst day today in the last probably 3 months, and we were on the chat room. Matt's a couple of people saying it's one of those days to sit in your hands, and I had been doing that, but again, for some reason today I had a faller, and then the next race I've taken a loss, and I had to walk away for 20 minutes. But I've come back, and then next race I won one race out, and I didn't enter no more. But 2 months ago, I probably would have had 5 losing trades in the bounce, and I'm walked away, my bank nearly gone. So I think it's learning about yourself is probably the hardest thing, I would imagine. And the discipline's definitely sitting there on a Monday afternoon when it's an all-weather meeting. Just it's hard sit there for 2 hours and to do nothing. But I'm now learning that that's what needs to be done to be profitable.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Jody? How did you get into trading?
Very, very similar to Robbie and Paul, to be fair, I think, from previous conversations we've had. As a teenager at sixth form, I probably spent most of my time either at the golf course or in the bookies. I was constantly out putting, and I'd be one of these people. I had a part-time job at Sainsbury's, and I'd get paid, and 2 days later my money'd all be gone. I'd lose the lot. And that carried on pretty much all the way through my 20s. Not as bad. Sort of grew up a little bit and didn't waste as much, but I was still always losing money. I was a losing gambler constantly. Had my first ad 31. I think when that happened, I was like, I really enjoy my punting. I want to carry on, but I can't keep wasting money. I've got to be a little bit more mature about things now. So I kind of really eased off on it for a few years. Had not much time gambling at all. And then it got to sort of my mid-30s. I thought I really still enjoy it. I knew about Betfair. I knew about sort of backing and laying a little bit, and I went down the similar route that I started following tipsters, horse racing tipsters, made a little bit of money, got all my accounts blocked, and then literally sort of thought, well, I'll give Betfair a go. Started looking at arbitrage first of all. Never went down like match betting route as such. Looked at arbitrage, thought straight away this isn't for me. So looked at trading, and I think I just same sort of way, looked on YouTube, Google, come across, I think it was Calm Berry first, looked at some of his videos, signed up to his video pack, and I think that gave me, obviously watching them videos, and that gave me like an insight to how the markets work a little bit. Then the same as the other lads, I think I was talking to Helen, one of our members, on Twitter, and she suggested she joined up. She was in part of Steve Howe's Mugs Game setup, so I went and joined that, done the course. Probably about a year in, same sort of thing. I'd done all right, but again, I thought this ain't for me. I think I spoke to you one night actually, Paul, probably on Skype or Twitter, and you said about Matt's course. So I spoke to Matt, come across hunting for profit, and I've been here probably 3 years now, 3.5 years, something like that.
I think that just picking up that people that enjoyed not the betting or the actual racing side of it, not necessarily the betting, but the actual racing side of it.
Yeah.
Certainly, I know I did.
Yeah.
I found it a lot easier trading and running as opposed to trading pre-race, because
I think that's what
pre-race was a lot of numbers moving up and down. I personally couldn't relate a reason as to why it was happening. Obviously, it's money, and I know that's what moves markets. But certainly in race, I could apply some logic to why the price was moving, not moving, or with the certain methods that Matt teaches. I could then look for those on the ladders, and because I enjoyed the racing, I found the transition from pre-race to in running so much more suitable for me.
Yeah, I think for me that was the same. I mean, I got into sports betting, trading, because I enjoy sports. I've always loved sports, and that was part of pre-race. You're not watching any of the racing. You're seeing the horses trot down at the start, and then you're done. You're moving on to your next race. You're not seeing any of the racing or anything like that. So that was another thing I really enjoyed being at trade, as you're saying, watching the racing and understanding why things are happening, as opposed to not really knowing why things are happening. And yeah, I mean, 3.5 years. It's been tough at times. I've thought, is this for me at times? But I've kept going, and yeah, sort of, I'm still here now, so doing all right. I'm enjoying it. It's a great place to learn. It really is.
I mean, for me, the hardest part for me has been transitioning from gambling. I've always had I probably was a gambling addict when I was younger, I'd say, in my 20s, because that would be get paid, go to the bookies, make some money, lose your money, start again next time.
Yeah.
Not always, but that was, and to come into trading and to have to learn to be disciplined and to sit on your hands and not trade every race has been really, really difficult, and it's taken a long, long time. I've sort of obviously gradually got better, but yeah, that was that need to win now has always been hard for me, and I had a lot for a long time of like, if I had a blow up or I messed a race up or something and it went wrong, I could lose my head and just, that would be it. I'd blow my bank, and that happened loads of times. I mean, I haven't just blown a few banks, I've blown loads of banks, and it's taken a real long while to sort of completely change my mentality, and that's been the hardest thing for me. It really has, the ex-gambling. I think if you can start trading and you've never done anything in terms of sort of gambling and betting, and I think you're at such an advantage because you can learn it from scratch, and you're not chasing all the time.
Yeah, you're not going over bad habits that you've picked up in the past.
No.
Is the mental challenge been harder for you than the technical side of things, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, as Paul and Robbie said, when you make a big mistake, I mean, we all take losses, and if they're little, they're fine. You make a big mistake, it's normally down to yourself, isn't it? And I mean, that would happen, and then I'd lose my head, and I'd chase and do all sorts of silly things. But yeah, again, it's just all about self-improvement, isn't it? Working on yourself. You're your biggest edge, aren't you? So if you get your mentality now, you've got a huge chance.
I don't think you're on your own there, mate. I can remember, and going to Matt one day, and I think I've just done another bank. I've probably done about 3 banks in a week.
Yeah.
And I've done some proper dough, and I went to Matt and I just said to him, look, I'm struggling now. I really enjoy doing it, and I really like doing it, but I've got the same problem. I keep going over the same old ground over and over again. And it's like in trading, you get rewarded for doing your job properly, don't you? It's not about big gains. It's a big, like gambling. You're trying to just minimize your losses and just take what's available to you at the time. And it took me such a long time to get that. And I think in the end, I went to him and he almost micromanaged me. Well, he did micromanage me, and everything was, we built it small bank and just execute. Can you execute part A of the plan? Can you move on to part B? Can you move on to part C? And I must sound like a broken record sometimes when we're in the chat room, although I haven't been in a lot lately because I've had other stuff going on, but it's so important to if you are listening and you have got that gambling mindset, you have to strip it right back. And I don't know, someone said it, if you can't do it with a tenner, you're not going to do it with a ton.
No.
It doesn't matter about the money. If you can learn to execute, you will learn to trade. You'll still have days. I still have days now when I go, taking a bigger loss there than I'd like, or I've let that run a bit too long. But generally, I'm within the parameters of get out. If it's going wrong, eventually I'll get out. And if it's going against me, or I've had a really good position in the trade and I leave it go that bit too long and it falls at the last, and you think, oh, what have I done there? You still have them. It's just being human, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely, as you said, it probably is better if you never gambled before, because I'm the same as you two. Do you know what I mean? I'm still, because of my early habits, they're still in the back of my mind, and I think myself, I've got it under control for 10 days, for 3 weeks, and then bang, you have a fall or you have a loser, and then next race think, yeah, I'm composed, but then the next race think, I've actually taken another red. But you think you're in control, and I'm thinking, hold on a second, you're actually speaking to Matt and obviously to yourselves, you probably need to walk away. And it's hard to do, is to walk away in it, because you think, no, I feel okay, but there's nothing sure. Every time I take a red, 9 times out of 10, the next race, I take another red. I had stopped that the last month, but today I've taken a fall, which is a fall is a fall. There's nothing we can do with that. But the next race, I actually took the biggest red I've taken for 2 months. So I was a bit disappointed in that. But again, that's down to me, and it's down to learning. But eventually like it's clicked. It's not it's clicked but I'm definitely doing them less and I'm getting better. So that's the positive I've got to take. Otherwise, because if you take it into tomorrow's trading or the next trade, you're going to lose again. And so I think, as we've all said, what Matt teaches is, it's not easy, Matt. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but we can do it. It's working on ourselves on the mental side of sitting on your hands or waiting for the trade to show us its hand. That's where I find it difficult, to be fair. Sitting out for 2 hours and doing nothing. But we've all said it and we all know, I'm starting to learn that now. It's what needs to be done, because you can't enter every trade. It's just, you can't win every race. It's just crazy. It just doesn't work that way.
It is the case for anybody, and it's, in my experience, it doesn't matter how long you've been trading. Like, you find the initial belief in something that you want to do, which you guys have. You master the edge, if you like, but then it comes down to dealing with your mindset and what you've just said about you took a faller. You can't help that. So you've obviously backed a horse. It's fallen. That's happened. It's gone. You have to learn to move on from that quickly, and that's down to emotional control. It's and like you've openly admitted there, that you shouldn't have taken that red in the market after the faller. For whatever reason it has happened, it's happened, but that's all part of dealing with emotional control. And like, you can trade for 3 weeks, be in profit every single day and trade like an absolute Jedi, if you like. Have a couple of days that are quiet because of variance or liquidity or whatever it is, and you don't trade particularly well, or you might get itchy feet where you've been that confident for 3 weeks, 4 weeks or whatever it is, and then you have a few blips in your trading, and then your confidence can be shot. So it's really, really important it's easy to say these things. It's a lot harder to put it into practice. But when you can control you can't control your emotions, but when you're aware of your emotions. So I think I said it in the room today that you do whatever you need to do. Squeeze a stress ball, bang on the desk to say, right, no, don't do this next. You know what I mean? Walk out of the room, walk around the block, take the dog for a walk, whatever it is to break that habit where you think, right, I could click the mouse here and try and chase back what I've lost. That can't happen. And this is why I say, like, don't focus on your P&L, just focus on the actual market, because that last market can be totally different to the next market. The next market might be, you might get a wage in the next market. It might be a day's wages. You don't know. So, it might not be till 5 markets time. So you have to treat every single market, every single race as a completely new market. Yes, we see patterns in the market and we understand how to read the market and how to read the race. But things can be different. So, for example, you might see for 3 races, something really obvious, like three front runners win. Yeah, they may call in 3 races in a row, and then your mind's starting to think, well, I'll get on this next front runner, but the next front runner is a complete donkey. He's badly handicapped or whatever it is. The ground's no good for him, and he doesn't run particularly well, and you start lumping in money into the. I'm digressing here, I know, but just trying to explain that how things can change to your emotion, your emotions in the market. So you start lumping into that market, thinking, oh, I'm confident here. With the last 3 markets being a piece of piss. I made my wages, blah blah blah, and then it goes tits up. So that can happen. Lots of scenarios can happen. Like you say, with a faller, you then get another red trade. And probably if you sit there carrying on, you're going to get another red. This is why I don't get excited when I win, because winning's easy. It's the easy part of trading. It's the losing that you have to be good at. It's really when there's you guys know yourselves, like when the trading day is brilliant, it's great, and this is why I don't understand people that like they have a set target for the day. So I don't know, say it's 50 quid, 100 quid, or whatever it is, whatever your bank is and your staking, etc. So they have a target. Say it's 50 quid a day. They hit the 50 quid and then they knock it on the head. That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever, because if there might be like another 10 opportunities that day. I understand if after you made it 50 quid, if your trading day, you've had enough or whatever, or your mind's just not in it, that's different. But if you're just knocking on a head to hit a target each time, that doesn't work well, it can work. It can work, but you're not working to your full potential as a trader, really. So you've got to go through the grind that you guys have done, where you're learning how to be a complete trader, if you like. So you're learning to sit out of the right races. You're learning to get in the right races at the right times. And I think that's so important, because if you're going to maximize your profits long term, that's the way you've got to do it. Obviously you allot yourself whatever time you're going to trade. You can't sit there in front of every race throughout the year. But there will be times when you're not going to trade. But my point is if the day's going well, and you can make a week's wages in that day, why would you quit it after initial, when you made 50 quid, you could make 500, for example, hypothetically speaking. So it's like, and so you have to learn to not control, but you have to learn to be aware of your emotions throughout the trading day, whenever you're trading. So if you're getting towards the end of a day and you're tired, if it's a hot day or whatever it is, you're not rehydrating yourself and you're getting tired, and then you start to make mistakes. It might be a really slow day where not a lot's happening, so you're almost you're sort of pressing for trades that aren't there. You're pushing for trades that aren't there, or it might be where you've had a really confident day and the market's been brilliant and you've made treble wages, and then you've been half of them wages or all of them in the last 3 or 4 races pushing for more money. So it's really, really important that if you've got an edge, to pretty much stick to that edge, and if you can be aware of your emotions, etc. And when you feel like I might do something silly here, that's the time to snap out of it, and you have to do whatever you need to do. Like I say, a stress ball, bang on the desk, give yourself a slap around the face, whatever it is. It's really important.
Sorry to interrupt you, Matt. I think that's where
that's right.
The outside people don't get it, because obviously I speak to my friends and I say I'm making X amount a day, and they're like, well, that's 30 days, and that means you're making £2,000 for figure's sake, £1,000 a month, 12,000. But I'm there every day because I'm trying to learn that because I can make £100 a day doesn't mean I'm going to earn £3,000 a month. And that's why you put the graft in. And obviously when you're trading, you understand that. But the people, when I speak to my mates, they're like, well, if you're making £100 a day, that's £3,000 a month. And if you make £100 in the first race, why don't you turn the computer off? Do you know what I mean? And when you're trading, you have to go through that to realise that the next race might be good, might be crap. And I need to trade for 3 or 4 hours a day to learn about myself, about the markets, and that's why I try and put the graft in, because it's people on the outside just think you make £100, just turn it off, but it doesn't look like that. As you said, you could be waiting 4 hours for that trade, or it could be 4 within a half an hour, and that's why I want to get to, from my point of view, is to make myself a better trader as opposed to look at the money and look for a set figure every day. And I'm just now since I spoke to you the last 2 or 3 months, I used to think if I can win that a day, I can win that a year. But obviously now I'm realising that a Monday afternoon at Wolverhampton mightn't be the same as Cheltenham on Paddy's Day. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think when you speak to their friends on the outside, it's difficult because they're just like, they just don't get it. Do you know what I mean? They're like, yeah, just turn the computer off, or why are you still making the mistakes that you made 6 months ago? Well, I'm not making them every day. I'm making them less now, and I have to find out about myself. And you got to go through the pain, because if it's simple, everybody be doing it, and that is true. Because how many people have been to open up betting accounts and nick the free bets? Everyone's done it. So there must be thousands and thousands of people that want to trade on Betfair, but they can't because they won't go through the pain. When you start losing money, they'll lose banks, or they just go crazy. Do you know what I mean? So you have to put in the time. But that's the God's honest truth, is that you've got to put in the graft and be willing and be honest with yourself. As I said, I haven't made much money the last 2 or 3 months. I've made money, but I probably should be making more than what I'm making, because I'm still making them mistakes. But I'm honest with myself, and I know I'm getting better. Yes, after 18 months, 2 years, I expect it to be further on down the line, but I'm not. But I can change that, and it's up to me to keep going or stop. And I know I'm getting better. So as long as I'm getting better and progressing every day or every week, I'm staying here, because I know what you teach works. It's just I've got to learn about myself and stop my silly mistakes, and they are my mistakes, and there's no one else to account for it. It is me, and obviously, I think, as I said, I think the 90 people on your course would say that what you teach does work. It's more about ourselves, to be honest.
I think that's one of the things that I really had to work hard on, was getting rid of, particularly with a punter's head on at the time. It was like there's so many preconceived ideas, or you might look at it and go, "Oh, what's it today? It's Monday. Oh, what we got? We got Plumpton and Wolverhampton." You could make wages at Plumpton and Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
You only need the right opportunity to fall. But it's just getting rid of that any preconceived ideas you have about racing, gambling, whatever, and just treating each market individually on its merits. And it took me a long time just to you build up a fair idea, and you build up a fair idea in your mind of what might be a good race trade, what might not, what might be a good move, might not. But opportunities present themselves daily.
Yeah.
It's just about us maximising the execution, and making sure that we turn them opportunities into money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I agree with that, because in terms of looking at each day, sometimes obviously I go through the race card and put together the notes for the group, but sometimes after I've looked at the race card, I think this looks really competitive day today. This might be, might have to be a little bit patient. And then other day, and it actually turns out all right. And then at other days, I think, oh, this card looks really good. I reckon there'll be some good opportunities here. But for whatever reason, it doesn't pan out like that. Horses don't always run to how they're meant to run, and obviously we have methods around that to counteract that, whether we don't enter or cut the trade, whatever. But yeah, you don't have any expectations at all. You literally just go into every single day with zero expectation. It's the best way, and just focus on your execution, not the money. I think what you hit on really is, and I see it with everybody that finds success at this. I've noticed this similar trait. Every single person has put in the graft, and I think like society today is a lot of people. It's like a self-entitled society, isn't it? A lot of people want it now. They don't. They don't want to put in the graft. They see Dave or Pete or whoever he is or she on Twitter post up, a profit and loss where they're making 500, 600, 700 quid a day or whatever, and they're saying, oh yeah, how do you do this, and it's like everyone jumps on trying to copy them, and let's go with a majority, when actually you probably want to be moving away from that, and people get sucked in, don't they, and I understand that. It's and if somebody's genuine about their P&Ls and that they're showing, that's great, but what you don't see with results is you don't see all the crap that goes into it to get them results in the first place. It's a bit like you watch a world title fight in boxing on the telly under the glitz and glamour of the lights, but you don't see the boxer running on the road at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, all the crap that the boxers had to go through and getting beaten up and sparring and that to win the fight, or whatever it may be. And it's the same with trading, really. It's almost like it's like a high performance type of thing. You know, I've never been a sportsman like you, Robbie, but is there anything from like you've taken into trading from football? You know, like being a professional, because professional sports people, they are high performance, aren't they? They.
Have you ever watched me play?
I think I have, you know. I think I have.
Was it high performance?
Well, you were marking Darren Huckabee, so no chance.
He's too quick for me, mate. He's quicker than Ronaldo. No, I think obviously being a footballer, I was young 20 years ago, so I had discipline. Do you know what I mean? Probably not like they have nowadays, to be honest. So I have taken discipline, and as I said, just you have to look at yourself, don't you? When you played football on a Saturday, if I played bad, I'd go home, I'd sulk I'd go out and get drunk on a Saturday night, and then I'd sulk to myself Sunday and Monday because I played shit. So you always look at yourself, and as I said to you, with my trading journey, I'm only still here because I know I'm making progression. I'm not lying to nobody. I tell my friends, or I tell you when I've had a bad day. I don't hide. So I think if you're honest with yourself, I've taken that from football. If I look at myself and think to myself, do you know what? I am progressing. Yes, it is slower than what I wanted it to be. But I can't change the last 18 months, can I? So I can only progress from today. So I think mainly that, and obviously discipline. And I know that for me being a footballer as well, obviously you got to put in the graft. I mean, when I was a youngster, some of my mates were better than me, but unfortunately they didn't make it, and I did. And probably down to my dedication, I didn't start drinking until I moved to England, till I was 19 was my first drop of alcohol. So all those little things are dedication, wanting to do it, willing, and I take that into my trading. I've wanted to crack Betfair for years. I found something I've liked. I do like your method, so I know it works. So I know I just got to work on myself and keep asking myself the questions. Why did you make a mistake? Why are you taking 2 reds and a bouncing? As I said, my mistakes are 100% getting less and less. So if we can cut out those silly mistakes, I won't go far wrong. So I think it's, as I said, mainly to look at yourself. To be honest with yourself, if I was losing £100 every day, I'd have to just say to myself, do you know what? I'm just not good at this. It doesn't work. But I'm not losing money at all. I'm making money, not as much as I'd like, but I'm now starting to increase my bank. So yeah, I think you got to be honest with yourself, innit? Because there's no point in being trading. If you're a gambler, like Jody said, lucky enough he's got over that. But if you can't get out of that mentality, you're only going to lose money, and that's a fact. So I think you got to look at yourself and be honest. And if you know you can change your habits and work on yourself and be disciplined, it's definitely there for you. Put the graft in.
It is just such a leveler trading, because it's not you versus it's not you versus there's money on the ladders, which is other people, and of course you want to try and hoover that up when things are moving, but a lot of it, once you have the tools to do the job, which Hunting for Profit gives you, it then becomes about you versus you.
Yeah.
And like Robbie's saying there, he's honest with himself. He's honest with it, and Jody being honest as he has earlier in this podcast. It's you versus you. You've got to be so honest with yourself. You've got to be able to. It will take you to places that nothing else will, trading, because it can strip you of everything. I've seen people living almost complete lies and you know, kidding themselves, kidding everybody, kidding the world, and lose everything.
Yeah.
It is you versus you. You have got to be so honest with yourself, with everybody. And I don't know, obviously I would say not as many people use Matt like I used Matt.
No, they don't.
As should, because they probably get to cross a couple of hurdles and go, oh, I don't know, this ain't for me. or they're just struggling with something, and they'll feel, oh, Matt's going to judge me on this, or he's going to. I mean, I opened up to him and I told him exactly what I'd done and how I'd done it. But until you're honest, really honest with yourself, I think you'll always struggle to make money. And it's not even about making money. You'll struggle to execute properly. And if you haven't got the money, this is another thing, a point I'd make on it. You need to have a comfortable bank which doesn't interfere with any living money, doesn't interfere in any day-to-day, and it almost frees you up to trade properly, because you're not thinking about the end result. You're thinking about the process, and it's your bank to protect. If you're thinking this, I don't know, you might put your last 100 quid in. I know this is what I was doing at the time. Put your last 100 quid in and go, I want to make 50 quid because we're going out this weekend. Sure as eggs is eggs, you're going to lose that 100 quid because you're forcing things that are not there.
100%.
So it's a definite leveler for anybody.
Yeah.
It's probably harder than marking Ronaldo.
That was a piece of piss. I told you that earlier on, mate. What's wrong with you?
But not Darren Huckabee.
Yeah, no, he was quick. So was Ronaldo. But just to get out there, Ronaldo's good. Yeah, no, it is hard, isn't it, to be fair? But the money, as I said, I've spoke to Matt like yourself, and he's definitely there for anybody who needs him, and he does. We spoke 6 weeks ago, Matt, wasn't it? Probably. Yeah. I had £100 left in my bank, and I wanted to reload it. Matt goes, "Don't reload it." And now I've got 5 or 6 times that. You know what I mean? And I still haven't reloaded it. So Matt is there to help, and as I said, it's but the money side of thing is definitely now, unlike you now, Paul. I'm just starting to think, do you know what? My friend actually said it to me 2 months ago. He said, "Listen, Robbie, you pay a mortgage, your gambling money, your trading money is your money." He said, "So you don't need to be making money out of trading. Obviously, if you do, it'll pay for a holiday or something." So since sort of then, and obviously since speaking to Matt, I'm thinking, do you know what? If I don't make money today, it's not a problem. Whereas you think if I'm sitting out for 3 hours and I'm not making no money, you'd walk away disappointed. I'm actually, some days now I'm walking away thinking, you know what? That wasn't bad today. I walked away evens. The markets were tight or whatever. Nothing really showed us chance, and I'm glad I didn't lose. And that's where my brain's at now, which to me again is progression again. And we're just making those little small differences. They all add up. But money is definitely, to begin with, it's hard. And as I said, I think, as you said, I think a lot of people come into Matt's group and they disappear after 2 or 3 months. And I'm thinking, I don't know, like what Matt teaches. Trading, you can learn Matt's methods probably in 2 or 3 months, but the other side of it it's taken me 2 years and I'm still learning. Can take people less, but there's definitely more to learn about yourself, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? And that's the hard, and that doesn't take months. That takes a long time. And people just walk away, and as you said, they're just looking for quick fixes, and they just want something that makes money instantly, which trading, Betfair's not going to do, is it? Because it's just going to take your money. If that's what if you're expecting to make money, it's definitely going to take your money.
You see it.
Sorry, go on.
You see it everywhere. You see people on Twitter. I know not everyone's on there and that, but some people appear and they're there for a couple of 2 or 3 months, sort of shouting off, and then they're gone. And it's just a very sort of, I think, like Paul said, lots of people. It's the sort of thing that people they'll shout about, but I mean, I think after a while you get to know the genuine people, don't you? And I mean, I've been lucky with the groups that I've joined and the journey I've taken, that I've learned a lot. I know there's a lot of people out there who are just in it to sort of get a subscription fee off people, take a bit of money, and then they disappear. And it's a shame, really. There's a lot of sort of shit houses around, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, that's the gambling and trading world, murky waters. There's a lot of that. It's a bit of a shithouse thing to do, isn't it? To take somebody for a ride.
As my granddad would say, "Where there's muck, there's brass."
Yeah, true.
Because people see the dollar and they want to chase it, don't they? It's like dangling a carrot, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with humans is, we're like programmed in like a linear fashion. So it's like time and effort has to equal X amount of money, like you said, Robbie, about 100 quid a day, you know, over a month, you know, can make a nice wedge there. But what people don't understand with trading is that doesn't quite work like that, because for whatever reason, that day can be better than £100 a day, or it can be a lot worse, depending on what you're staking. So, you know, variance kicks in, different reasons why the market is what it is. Anyone that sort of works towards trading, particularly in play on horses, because that's all I know really, is anybody that works towards them markets. If they're doing the same thing, unless they have a set and forget type of style of trading, like an automation or something that they run, that's different. But if they're approaching it manually with the same attitude towards the market every day, you're going to lose 100%, because you're probably just, without being disrespectful, probably just a rabbit in headlights. You don't understand what the market's doing. You know, and when I think back to when I first started looking at the in-play markets, it's exactly the same for me. You know, like you guys, I got into it through gambling. I'd started match betting, you know, and I was thinking, oh, how does this work? You know, this was moving in a tick here and there, and I've just thought there's got to be a way of making money from this. And you are literally, when you first start looking at them markets, you are a rabbit in headlights. So understanding, understanding the actual market and the components of it and how it actually works is your first step. Unless you understand that and you have some form of an edge in the market, your results are just going to be completely random. You might have days where you hit big heights, and like you said, Jody, that there's people that'll be around for a few months, even a year, and then they disappear. Yeah, it's, you know, it's great to see people's results and stuff like that, but you got to understand that doesn't happen every day. You've got to understand there's variance in absolutely everything, and it, like I said, it's very easy to win at this when you've got your edge and everything goes tickety-boo, everything goes right. It's great, isn't it? It's nice. Oh, you know, I made X, Y, Z today. But it's learning how to lose and lose well, because you know, show me an in-running horse trader that doesn't lose, and you show me a liar, because we all lose. I lose money in play on some races. You know, you see people say, "Oh yeah, I've had 20 in a row or whatever greens." That's great, but what about number 21, number 22? It's being able to stay out of the markets you shouldn't be involved in, or get out of them markets at the right time, and be happy with and content with that loss. If you entered at the right time and you got out at the right time, you should be more prouder of that than, you know, making that easy 80, 90, 100 quid or whatever, when the market's really fluent and flowing really well. So
the worst thing I used to do is congratulate myself on a trade that was really poor, and it was almost on the verge of gambling. It wasn't executed properly, and I'd congratulate myself, and I'd get cocky, and that's what would be my downfall, because I'd go, well, this is easy now, I've cracked it. And then you go, decent win, might fluke another one, and then you forget the actual basics, the technique, the method involved, and it guarantee it would go wrong. So it's better just to tick along, following the right method, and just flow away, just tick away. But definitely that was one of my biggest downfalls. I'd congratulate myself for a crap trade and a lucky win, and it's easy done. You might get lucky, but you shouldn't really congratulate yourself. You should be thinking, I haven't really followed the plan there.
I used to do that. Yeah, after like 4 or 5 days of trading, good trading, think, yeah, I've made it. And many times I spoke to Matt, I said, Matt, I've had 6 days of being great, 7th day, bang. lost all the 6 days in one day. I'm thinking, what's gone wrong there? And then all of a sudden, your confidence goes. Then you build your confidence up. You think, yeah, I'm back, I'm okay. Yeah, I've not, but you probably do think you've cracked it. And now I know that I'm never going to crack it. But after a week's trading, I've cracked it. And then bang, get hit, go down again, come back up. And now, as you said, I'm starting to now just get, do you know what? If I have a good trade, on to the next trade. If I have a losing trade, on to the next trade. And that's where I'm getting to now, which is obviously where you need to be. And as I said, I think most of us seem to have gone through the same emotions, and done the same bad habits. And I think it's just the people who are willing to stay there and just to keep going and just keep putting in the hours and the hard graft to get there. That's my opinion of it. If you put the hours in, it's like a computer game. Eventually, surely it's got to click, as long as you know that you're making progress and as long as you're honest with yourself.
It's all habits, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's about making good habits, and you're doing the right thing over and over again. Like Paul said, if you're not, you can have a bad trade, but if you've stuck to the plan and you've taken a red, that's fine. If you've won a massive green, but you haven't stuck to your plan, and you've literally for whatever reason you've made a load of money, but you class that as gambling, that's not fine, is it? And we've all done that. I've done that loads of times, and it's just, yeah, creating good habits, sticking to that plan, sticking to that method, and hopefully it just becomes second nature long term, and you're just doing the right thing over and over again.
Yeah, and it's understanding, which you've all pretty much hit on as well. It's understanding yourself as an individual. As I talk about it on the course, like some things that I needed to change in my trading, and what I needed to change can be different for somebody else. It's all right me sitting there and going, lads, you need to be disciplined. Well, how do you implement that? Everyone's different. So you might be very confident of throwing money into the market. You might be too gung-ho. You might be risk averse. You might be absolutely crapping yourself putting 10 quid into the market, whatever it is. But each individual, there is, there's so many different aspects, and that comes from the makeup of you as a person. That's kind of why I asked you, Robbie, about the sort of the sports background, because everyone's background is what they are now, aren't they? It's their personality and everything, and their habits that they bring into the trading. So we've all had different experiences in life. So it's like you guys have said, trading, you have to, if you can't look in the mirror and have a chat with yourself during the journey, then you're never going to crack it. Because that time you first look in the mirror, that's one of them big hurdles where you say, right, I need to change this. If I don't change this, I'm never going to make money. Like I say, that's when it's good to when I sometimes have a one-to-one chat with people. It sometimes helps, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people don't need that; they can work that out for themselves. But you have to kind of find yourself, if that makes sense. Work out how you tick, if you like. And I think people you hear it from most, if not all, profitable traders that they've all gone down that same road, if you like. I don't think it's natural to anybody. I really don't. You'd have to be a robot, wouldn't you?
It's hard, as you said. There's nothing short of sitting in front of a computer, just clicking buttons. You can be doing that, can't you? Do you know what I mean? So it is hard mentally, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think when you start out, I remember when I started out, it's all about learning your edge, finding your winning trades. And I think after a while, that changes to, right, what's costing me here? What's my reds I'm taking? And you're working on your reds as opposed to your greens. And you go from like working on winning trades to working more on your losing trades and minimizing them. And that's for me where I sort of found a massive improvement. It was working on me, working on things that I do wrong, as opposed to, like you say, Matt, when you have a nice day and there's loads of opportunities and it's easy, anyone can sit there and put money in and take it out further down the ladder. But on the days when you would put money in when there's no opportunities and you'd spunk your bank. They're the days when you got to work on yourself and things like that, isn't it? So, yeah, that's where I've improved the most. Working on the things I do wrong, big time, cutting out the errors and working on my mentality. Definitely.
I think that's the thing with trading as well. You could make what you've just said there sound so simple in terms of you could go, right, I tell you what then, if you did small loss, scratch, win, big win, it sounds simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not, is it?
You try sitting in front of a machine when it's Hereford on a Monday and it's desperate ground and they're going crawl, dash for the final 2 furlongs. Yeah. That's what separates the wheat from the chaff, and it is really that discipline, that
you calling
mindset.
Me chaff, Paul?
Sorry?
You calling me chaff?
but you know that's part of the that's part of the journey, isn't it? That is part of
exactly. It. Yeah, 100%. It's the red trades that will make us good traders, isn't it? To be honest, it takes you a while to learn that.
It's performing to kind of your sweet spot as well. It's like some people come into it and they want to trade like me. Now, without sounding like a cock or big-headed or anything, like if somebody's just starting out, literally just starting out from the scratch, from start, I've been doing it several years. So it's taken me so long to get to where I am. You can't just expect to rock up and start putting in several hundred quid into the market. Like I've said before, when I first made 50 quid in the market, when I first made £100, I was shaking like a shitting dog, thinking, fucking hell. When I first started putting in 20s, 30s, £40 into the market, as you guys have experienced, the first time you do it, it's a bit, the ticker goes a bit quicker, and you have to work up to that. And it's like performing to your sweet spot. So understanding where you are on your journey. So if you are at the start, you've got to understand, you've got to learn how the market works, how it operates, learn the technical side of it. Then, like you guys have said, you go into the mental side of it. You've made winning days. Then it's working on them losses, working how you tick, putting all them bits of jigsaw together. And when you get the jigsaw together, then it's keeping that jigsaw together in one piece every day, all the time. You've don't have like massive goals, like you said, massive goals. Don't have don't even have any goals in. Yeah, of course, long term you need to make money. This is my full-time job. I've got to make wages, but don't have it like, if I have a week where it's quiet and I don't make a lot of money, I don't get upset about it. It's 7 days. You've got to think of it long term, is what I'm trying to say. It's, just trade what you see, what the market offers you, and find that sweet spot, your sweet spot. So don't try and be somebody else. Don't try and be like me. You don't try and be like the other person in the group or whatever. You just be yourself. If you're not feeling it that day, and I'm saying in the Skype room, it's been a really good day today. It's been cracking, loads of opportunities. And for whatever reason you weren't feeling it, you woke up with hangover, or stuff's going on in your life that's pissing you off, or I don't know. You've hit that rut where you've had a few good weeks and then you had a bit of a wobbly day the day before. Don't worry about it. That is you. That's who you are. That's where you are on your journey. So don't beat yourself up about it because that day was good opportunities. If you can try and hit that sweet spot where you've got balance with everything going on in your life, and your trading should reflect it. And I'm digressing a bit. I'm going a bit deep, but that's really important. I think if your head is clear, then you're going to trade a lot better than if you've got crap going on in your head. And it's like that when you say about you get the faller or you get something go against and you have to take the loss. If you let emotions come into your brain and take over, emotions are going to be in your brain anyway. Yeah, we're human. But if you let emotions take over, that is when things change. Your trading will change. Your view on that market will change. You'll stop trading the actual market of what it's doing, trying to chase stuff, or you'll do whatever. And that's where things go wrong, and that's where people go wrong, and or they might not even think they're chasing it. They might think they're seeing something in the next market that isn't actually there. And until you look back at it and reflect on it and go, shit, why did I enter that? Then you realise. So it's really important to be in the zone, if you like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, as well, I think when I was talking to you quite regular, Matt, when I was struggling, I can remember vividly one day going, can't believe today everything just flowed, and it just seemed like, I know it sounds stupid, but the ladders wasn't flashing up and down. Everything was controlled. It was like, rather than a golf ball flying up and down, it was like a beach ball flying up and down, and it was everything just seemed in control and everything. And I said, I can remember you saying, I just seemed in control today, and you said, well, that's probably because you're in a bit of a sweet spot. And it really stuck in my mind that I wasn't thinking about anything else other than what I was doing on each market. And I think since that point, that's something I try to take with me when I trade, is that I just try and shut everything else out, just be nice and calm, and just focus on what I'm doing. No preconceived ideas of what might happen. Just literally follow what I'm doing and execute the plan. And it sticks out vividly because it must have been a bit of a moment for me. Don't have many in my life, but it must have been a bit of a moment.
Gonna have a Tuesday, Thursday, Sundays.
No, steady, Robbie.
Yeah, on Sunday.
Yeah, no, you kind of get them eureka moments, don't you, along your journey where you stuff like that happens. And I see it with some members that send me videos, and they send them early on in their trading journey, and they can't read the market yet. They can read some races, but then they can't quite grasp where they're going wrong. And I'll explain, look, you shouldn't have entered this because of X, Y, and Z, or not you shouldn't have entered this. I don't like telling people you're wrong, but like where you entered here, this is where it can be potentially dangerous, X, Y, and Z. You entered at a point that wasn't value, whatever it was. And then you see there, when they've sent me videos further down the line where it clicks and they kind of get it. And I'm like, you know what you're doing now. I've had this conversation with you, Robbie, and I can see from the videos I've seen of yours, like you know what you're doing. You understand the market. You know how it works now. You know what you're doing. You can trade. You're capable of executing. It's then that mindset part of it that we've worked on, and you put in the graft, same as Jody and Paul. It's great to see. Like,
no pain, no gain. Do you say?
That's it. It's all hard graft, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think unless you guys have got anything more to talk about, I've taken up enough of your evenings, and enough of your evening, and I appreciate you giving up your time to have a chat about your journeys. Really appreciate it. Chuffed to bits with your progress over the last sort of particularly 12 months, Robbie and Jody. It's great to see that more guys getting into the green zone, if you like, on a consistent basis, and long may that continue. So I hope you enjoyed that podcast. If you want to know more about learning how to trade horse racing in play, then you can find us on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube, and you can contact us via the website at www.huntingforprofit.co.uk.